You're listening to WTJU Charlottesville. The UVA Drama Department is putting on the English premiere of Love is the Greater Labyrinth, originally written in Spanish. For arts this week, we chatted with director Juana Rebek about the production, which is based on the myth of Theseus and the Minotaur.
My name is Juana Rebek, and I am a theater and opera director visiting University of Virginia.
Could you tell us about Love is the Greater Labyrinth coming up at UVA in November?
You know, if somebody said Macbeth, you'd have an idea of the characters. You kind of know what happens. You know, Lady Macbeth goes a little bonkers. So a lot of things happen in this show like that, but nobody has heard of it yet. I think this play is a masterpiece, just waiting to happen. It's based on Greek myths, so the hero Theseus, in our case Teseo, has offered his life to the Minotaur.
But even after the monster is defeated, the challenges are just beginning.
So the reason it's called Love is the Greater Labyrinth is because it's actually easier for Theseus to kill the Minotaur in the labyrinth than it is for people to end up with the right partner in the show. So Love is the Greater Labyrinth because it's so many mistaken identities and masks and, oh, you're flirting with my sister. So Love is the Greater Labyrinth.
What attracted you to this play?
Dave Dalton, who's the guy who picks all of the season shows, is a big fan of plays that were written in the Siglo de Oro, or the Spanish Golden Age. And what's cool about these plays is that they're like 100 years after Shakespeare wrote, so they're super advanced in terms of there are plot lines for the servant class, there's plot lines for the nobility, there's plot lines for the royalty. It's very involved, and they're also not specifically comedies or tragedies. They're both. They're advanced and they're funny, okay? So he reached out and sent me this script, which is newly translated by Diversifying the Classics, which is a program at UCLA that is reviving these masterpieces and translating them into English so that we can do them, so people can know about these plays. So I read it, and I thought it was, like, fantastic and also nearly impossible, which I love. I love hard things, you know? Like, why do it if we're not going to, climb the mountain together? The author is a woman named Sor Juana, and that means, like, Sister Joanna would be the translation. And she was a nun in the late 1600s, and she decided to be a nun because she wanted to continue her education. And once women got married, they weren't supposed to be reading or learning anything anymore. And I immediately felt a kinship with this woman because I was like, I would have nunned so hard back then in order to continue my education. I'd never heard of this woman. She'd never been included in any list of, like, these are the great plays. But in Mexico, she is famous. She's like a national treasure. She's been on their actual currency for years. So Sor Juana is a big deal, and I'm half Mexican, so my mom knew about Sor Juana. She only wrote 3 plays, but she wrote 1 million poems. She was a beautiful writer, and she wrote for the court, what was called the Viceroy of New Spain, which was before Mexico was Mexico. I've been doing a lot of research about her, and I found out that she grew up in a hacienda, which is sort of like a large home with lots of grounds around. And she actually had a garden labyrinth in her backyard. So I bet she played Minotaur games growing up, running around that labyrinth. And you can actually still go visit it today. This is the last play that she wrote, and no one knows about it. And it's just recently been put into English. And there's some things that are really hard in translation, like jokes are hard, right? Or like rhyming is hard when you translate into a new language. So we've really wrestled a little bit with the text to make sure that a modern audience will enjoy it. That's what hooked me. I wanted to help resurrect this woman's legacy. I think it's important that we become more inclusive with what's considered classics. And this is a big step to introduce this piece to a new generation of theater makers. And it's great to be Mexican and honoring my Mexican heritage by bringing this play to life for the first time. It's being staged.
Love is the Greater Labyrinth opens on November 8th at the Ruth Kaplan Theater. Information about tickets and showtimes can be found at drama.virginia.edu. Arts This Week is supported by the UVA Arts Council and Piedmont Virginia Community College. PVCC Arts presents a rich array of dance, music, theater, and visual arts programming. Learn more at pvcc.edu. You're listening to WTJU.